a representative of a collective law enforcement effort in regards to keeping our children safe. Behind me are representatives of assisting law enforcement agencies that lended a hand from investigative work, resources, equipment, general knowledge, and expertise in the fight against human trafficking and the online exploitation of children. Represented here is the Bay County Sheriff's Office, the Panama City Police Department, Lynn Haven Police Department, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Homeland Security Investigations, the U.S. Marshal Service, all of which are a partner in what's called the Northwest Florida Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force. Today we're going to talk about Operation Sand Trap. Several times, during the year, all the agencies combine their resources to target the worst of the worst criminals, those criminals that are directly trying to impact the safety of our children. In today's world, the idea of keeping children safe is much different than it was decades ago. We have to understand that we have two different types of children: the children that we see in front of us and then the children that are on the internet. The children that are on the internet are much more vulnerable to being contacted by these predators. During the operation, our undercover officers posed as children online. They entered websites, cell phone applications, other chat groups, posing as children, the things that children do every day. While they were on these specific platforms, they were approached by several individuals, all of them soliciting some type of sexual contact from this child. In total, we arrested 10 individuals. 10 individuals that traveled to the Panama City Beach area to engage in an unlawful sexual encounter with the kid. Some of them brought some very interesting things which we'll share with you today. We're going to go over the names of these individuals, then I will hand it over to the assistant agencies if they want to provide any comments. So, first and foremost, I'm going to refer you to the screen right behind the councilman. Let's hope that this works here. Okay, Mr. Lawrence, Jamaica national. He's being charged with solicitation of a minor for sexual acts and traveling to meet a minor for sex. Mr. Evan Ellenberg, a local physician, being charged with the same crimes. Wanting to engage with sex with a person who he believed to be 15 years of age. Mr. James Cook from Panama City Beach. Same thing. Wanted to have sex with a child. We found a gun in his possession. Mr. George Christensen from Woodridge, Virginia, charged with wanting to have sex with a child, traveling to meet a minor for sex, and a lawful use of a two-way communication device. Justin Guilford of Enterprise, Alabama, across state lines, which I'm sure our federal partners are very interested in, is charged with the same type of offense, wanting to have sex with the child. Mr. Jackson Cheek, same thing. Local individual wanting to have sex with a 15-year-old individual. Mr. Wells, I'm going to try to pronounce his first name, who committed all type of offenses prior to being arrested, but tried to have sex with who he believed to be a 15-year-old kid. And we also found a gun in his possession. Mr. John Faulkner from Rosemary wanted to have sex with a person he believed to be 15 years old. Mr. Michael McDonald of Tallahassee, Florida. Mr. McDonald was a special case. Mr. McDonald traveled from Tallahassee, Florida, to engage in sex with a person he believed to be 15 years of age, and he arrived with a tarp laid down in the back of his van with rope. And during conversation, he made mention that he wanted to engage in that sexual encounter in the back of his van. His intention with this tarp is under investigation. Matthew Jones. Mr. Jones is on probation for the same offense. Guess he didn't learn the first time. We're going to make sure he learns this time. Mr. Jones is being charged with solicitation of a minor for sex, traveling with a community minor, unlawful use of a two-way communication device, and I'm sure his probation officer is going to have some things added since he's currently on probation for the same type of crimes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is just a small sample of the people that are eventually going to end up in custody during the course of this investigation. Our investigation is ongoing. Our investigators spoke to well over 100 people that showed interest in these type of acts. Okay, this communication that was going on with the undercover officers is still being investigated, and we do anticipate a lot more arrests to be made. So if you're listening to this and you believe that you might have been talking to a police officer over the past couple of days, you probably were. You know you were doing something you were not supposed to do. You know you were committing a crime. So just turn yourself in right now and avoid us the time for us to come and try to find you. But if you don't want to, we will. I'll turn this over to the sheriff for her comments, but I want to make a plea to our parents, okay? Understand that this investigation does not solve the problem of online predators. You need to be the first barrier and defense when it comes to keeping our kids safe from these individuals. If you're not checking your kid's cell phone, check it. If you're allowing him unrestricted and unmonitored access to the internet, you're making a mistake. By the time we get involved, it's too late. Sheriff?
Thank you, Chief. It's our honor to partner with Panama City Beach Police Department and the other agencies here to address the issue with child sexual predators. And I think one of the strengths that we have here in Bay County is our partnerships on everything from violent crime to spring break to issues like this, where we come together to address these type issues and to make the public aware of these issues. And these are not something that we just do 2 or 3 times a year and don't do it any other time. This is something that our trained specialty investigators that work crimes against children do every day. So don't think that just because we had an operation this week that you can't get caught for doing the same thing tomorrow, because we're always doing this type of thing. In fact, we just partnered with the Sheriff's Office and the City Police Department, signing an MOU in order to give the City Police Department's jurisdictions countywide in working certain type of child crime cases. So these great investigators that work this operation that are behind us, we'll be able to further these partnerships by extending that jurisdiction just as part of the way we do business in Bay County and working all this stuff in partnership. What I'd like to say to parents, as the chief mentioned, is that these child predators, they were dealing with an undercover officer this time, but it would not matter to them at all if that was your 15-year-old daughter or your 15-year-old son that they were communicating with. And your responsibility as a parent is to make sure that your children, when they access these devices, that they know the dangers that they face, and that people that they're out there they're communicating with do not have their best intentions at heart. They may be communicating with somebody that shows up with a tarp and duct tape in their vehicle with very bad intentions. So pay attention to your kids' online activities. We're governed by the Constitution and the Fourth Amendment. There is no Constitution and Fourth Amendment in your house when you're dealing with your kids. So search their rooms, search their phones, make sure you know what they're doing. And again, it's a privilege to partner with these agencies to hold these child sex predators accountable. Thank you.
Captain Chris Nickel with the Panama City Police Department. On behalf of Chief Mark Smith, I'd like to thank Chief Talamantes for hosting this operation, all the partner agencies that participated. It's always unfortunate to know that we need to do these operations, but their success speaks volumes to say that they are a necessity. And so with that, a gratitude to the investigative team that made it a success.
I want to echo those last comments to the investigators, the trained investigators that were part of this investigation, whether they were posing as an undercover, they were part of our arrest team. They showed true dedication in this operation, all the previous operations they have done in regards to these type of crimes and their everyday work. So, understand that there is a army of very talented police officers in this area trying to battle this every day, but we need your help. We need the help with our local parents. We need our help of anybody that can get in the way of a predator and our children. But we are committed to doing everything we possibly can to ensure that they don't reach your kid. Thank you. Did you have questions?
I did, actually.
Okay.
This is probably the third or fourth time y'all have, in my time,
Yeah.
had a successful operation such as this, different entities in Meade County. Are these predators going to platforms that they know and they're talking about with each other? What specifically are they doing, and is there some network of, hey, this is where you should go? They're telling each other this type of thing?
Well, yeah, criminals find criminals, right? And they share information with each other. And, you know, I would like to say they run their own type of intelligence, just like law enforcement does, but for bad intentions. So the websites that they know to go to, we also know that that's where they are at. So that's where we focus our attention at.
My only other one about the parents, you guys said very, distinctly the role that the parents play. I'm not a parent myself, but I'm assuming that sometimes messages don't get through. Do you have any other resources or choices or things that you would suggest to someone if they've had this conversation with their child 10 times maybe? Is there anywhere else for them to turn, in your opinion?
Sure. You know, persistence more than anything. Look, our agency's been hosting a Parents Against Predators workshop for years, almost going on a decade, which provides parents a sort of raw, upfront, in-depth look at what the dangers are of this type of a crime. You know, it's not our job to parent your kid. It's our job to provide you, the parent, with resources, right? Information, knowledge, so you can have those upfront, raw communications with your children, which you need to be having on a daily basis, all right? Just like the sheriff said, there's no expectation of privacy when it comes to your kid's phone. That phone does not belong to them. It belongs to you. You can take it just like you gave it to them.
Something that you mentioned is that this is still an ongoing operation. Sheriff Ford says the work continues even if there isn't an active operation. At what point do you guys begin and end an operation such as this?
Well, the operation with itself is just the combined resources, right? It takes some work to get everybody scheduled, aligned, and get everything sort of organized in that regards. But the actual effort, the actual enforcement effort in regards to this type of crime is a daily thing, okay? We know the number one thing that all of us are responsible for is protecting our children in our local community, the kids that live in this state, the kids that live in this nation. And we are committed to doing that every single day. So the efforts in this does not stop after the operation. It continues to go.
The last one for me. We've mentioned several times up here today that things have changed in the past 10, 15, 25 years. The world is a different place. A lot of that is that unfettered access to the internet that kids might have now that they didn't in the past. What other factors of change have you seen in the past, however long you've been making this a priority, that have made this so much easier or more accessible for predators?
Well, I think the evolution of technology in regards to how it's desensitized our children has played a big part in this, right? There's a lot of kids out there that think the things they are seeing is not affecting the manner in which they think, act, and live their daily life, but it does. And our predators out there know that. They know that they can move much more further within the psychological aspect of the way the kids think, just by the amount of harmful material they are exposed to. But they don't have to be exposed to that harmful material if our parents are a little bit more involved.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.